What's going on, Team PPA? It's Coach here, and today is story time. You're like, where's the reactions? They can wait. I want to bring you through a little bit of history and give you a bit of background on myself and talk to you a little bit about my journey from the ranks of the pro dunk circuit into injury and then back to where I'm at right now. So for those that don't know, I spent the mass majority of the early parts of my career as a track and field athlete competing in multi-events. For the University of Windsor, I was a part of 3 national championship track and field teams and was fortunate enough to compete against and alongside some of the best athletes in the entire world. I moved from the University of Windsor into the world of professional dunking. I remember coming across a few videos back in the early 2000s of guys that could just sky, and I was blown away because I've always been obsessed and really inspired by the art of dunking and had done it since I was a kid. So I decided to put a couple of videos up online, and before you knew it, I was rolling around with a lot of these guys and jumping and getting the spotlight for being able to jump really high and dunk really hard. That carried me through a lot of my 20s, and as I neared the end of my 20s, I started to get some nagging injuries that had been plaguing me through my 20s, but I'd managed them through training and taking care of my body. And it wasn't until I was 30 years old and I came down from a dunk in Venice Beach and I felt a very sharp localized pain in my low back and realized that something was off. Something didn't feel right. Finding out a little bit later that I had 2 herniations in my lower spine that had progressed to the point where they were causing a lot of neurological pain and realistically making it very difficult for me to even walk for a good chunk of the following year. I used that time as an opportunity to shift my focus and kind of left the spotlight of dunking and decided to really invest all of my energy into the world of coaching. And I had been coaching for quite some time, but this was my opportunity to invest my energy and passion into something else, obviously as my family as well, meeting my wife, having our child, and really just shifting my priorities. But the itch always came back. I was always drawn back to trying to be a better version of myself. And to be perfectly honest, it's all I really knew. But every time I tried to come back, my back was just there yelling at me and giving me the feeling like it wasn't going to be what it used to be ever again. Fast forward a little bit to the end of 2018, the beginning of 2019, and both myself and Coach Chase kind of touching base a little bit again and really having another fire lit under me. And that was Coach Chase telling me that, listen, I'm going to program for you. I'm going to provide you the structure. You just be an athlete. And I thought that would be a perfect kind of opportunity to move forward because for the longest time, I'd just been doing my own programming. And to be perfectly honest, it gets boring after a while when you're doing your own stuff and you need a fresh set of eyes on something like injury rehabilitation. What I'd noticed and what I'd known was that the reason my low back had been stressed so much is that obviously the stress of landing from so high for so long, plus combined with the world of track and field I spent in for so long, everything was to my left, right? Running on the track, you're leaning into your left. I noticed that I'd been landing quite a bit on my left. My block foot, my braking foot was my left foot, and it was my left lower back that had these issues. Obviously, I'd thrown it out a couple times lifting as well, under load, under stress, both a deadlift and a squat, so that didn't help either. So it was really a push forward to try to, number one, strengthen my core, strengthen my hips to be able to stabilize my spine, because although you can resorb some of the herniations that you create, it really comes down to fortifying the area, making it as strong as possible so that you can place new stress on it and it can manage that. As that year progressed, I started to feel better, but it was challenging. It was still, I was dealing with new pain. I was dealing with the pain of training with an injury and feeling like at times I could do more than I could, but realizing that there was still a long way to go. It became a patience game. It became a game of trusting the process, and that's what I did. I had done this before. I had trained for many, many years prior and knew that if I just put my head down and I focused on every single day, that eventually I would get to a point where I could attempt to jump again. 2020 came around, and we all know 2020 was the greatest year in history. Not. We had the pandemic, which forced us all inside, a lot of lockdowns, so I decided to go to work. I actually refound a passion of mine from the track and field days, which was the sport of discus and throwing discus. I love discus, and this was something that I could actually perform with little to no pain in my lower back because it was largely rotational, but still very explosive, and that was super exciting to me.
The best one of the day.
I acquired the services of my then coach, Jason Tunks of Hard Knocks Throws, as a former 3-time Canadian Olympian and an absolute unit of a human being and a wonderful discus coach. And I trained under his tutelage for the year. And then my goal was really just to get in a track meet. I didn't really care what happened. And I ended up competing in 2 track meets last year. And I threw a personal best throw in the discus at 36 years of age, besting my 21-year-old self. And I was thrilled. And I thought, hey, I'm gonna kind of put all the my eggs in one basket, and I'm gonna train to be a discus thrower. So I went on a 30-week strength progression. I got extremely strong. I also got a lot bigger, hitting a max weight of 224 pounds of body weight. My lifts started to come around. I started to be able to do things I wasn't able to do in a long time. Deadlift, squat, get under a bar that was actually more than, just the barbell or a goblet squat without any pain. I was able to start reintroducing plyometric contacts controlled. And slowly but surely, I inched my way closer and closer to the inevitability that jumping was always calling my name in the background. Now, December of this past year, I remember watching a video that my partner, Coach Chase, put up of him dunking, and I'll be honest with you, it made me pretty jealous. I wanted to be able to do that again. So I decided that this is the time. I reached out, Coach Chase and I talked for quite a while, and we came up with a plan of attack, and we said, listen, the goal is to get you dunking again by the summer. I set a goal to be able to jump 40 inches in 2020, and actually was able to reach that goal by February. Once I started reintroducing elements of jumping and being explosive, it was like riding a bike, and my body started to really appreciate that and become more and more responsive. It is now the end of February, and next week I'll be heading into the gym for the first time since dunk camp of 2019 to try to dunk. And my new goal is to be able to hit a between the legs dunk by the end of the year. That's where we're at right now. I feel good. I'm at 210 pounds of body weight. We're gonna be measuring my body fat very soon, so we'll make sure to post and kind of keep you guys updated on what's going on. But at the end of the day, I think what this goes to show is that hard work, trusting the process, and patience pays off. You commit and believe in yourself, and anything is possible. I'll be 37 years old this year, and I feel like I'll be able to get in some of the best shape of my life. And jumping 40 inches already, the sky's the limit. I've been working out through our remote training app. It's something that I highly recommend for anybody that is looking to take their training seriously. You get coaching support from myself and Coach Chase, all for less than $1 a day. If you're interested in that, I'll post a link in the description below. Come on board, join Team PPA, let me help you out, let Coach Chase help you out to not only reach your goals, but surpass them. I think that's the most important thing to remember. Listen, thank you so much for sitting around and listening to my story. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel. You inspire me as much as I inspire you, so thank you, and we'll catch you in the next one. COVID high five. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, sending voice.